Hello and welcome to Quarterlight, your car brochure channel. In today's episode, we're going to have the final episode of this Go Vauxhall 1967 brochure with the rather wonderful Vauxhall Viscount. What a wonderful car. It's not going to be a huge episode actually, this one, because there isn't that much information on the Viscount, but it was too special to really include with any other model, so we'll take that separately. I'm going to jump straight into it as well today. We're just going to go straight into the episode. I'm going to flip the brochure the opposite way around, and here it is, the wonderful Viscount. So we'll zoom in on this main image, have a look at the text, have a look at the interior. Remember, this is 1967. What a very special car it is, and certainly this is my favourite car in the Vauxhall range in 67 because it's such an amazing car. Possibly you may have just walked past it and not really thought anything too special. I mean, it's not a Jaguar or anything, is it? But when you look on the inside, it's in that sort of class of vehicle. Anyway, we'll zoom in on this main image, then we'll read the text. So here is the wonderful Viscount. What a beautiful colour this is. You have to kind of keep reminding yourself this is 67. It's got a very much an American, Australian vibe to it, hasn't it? Certainly with that sort of Coke bottle design that was very much the fashion of the time. Notice this one's got a vinyl roof. Very early 67, isn't it, to have a vinyl roof in the UK? Were these the first models to come with a vinyl roof? I'm not sure. Answers on a postcard, but yeah, it's a beautiful car and a beautiful colour. I'm going to zoom in a bit further though. So zooming in straight to that wonderful front end, and yes, we got the correct UK number plate there, JXE313D. No doubt these had the same sort of rust issues as the rest of the Vauxhall range at the time, but maybe if you may have survived better, being a more upmarket car, they may have been tucked away in some barn somewhere, but certainly today that would be a wonderful car to own. Love the big chrome bumpers. We've got these extra driving lights on there. I would imagine there would probably be an optional extra, but I'm not 100% sure, as with the mirrors on the wings there as well. Very often at this time these were sort of optional extra dealer fit bits and pieces, but sadly it doesn't really tell us anything about that. And like I say, if we glance above those wonderful quarter lights, we can see that black vinyl roof, which like I say is a little bit unusual for the time in the UK. Big car, of course, with that huge boot or trunk area at the back, and you can really see that Coke bottle design there as well, can't you? And a zoom in on these wheels, really at a time when a lovely wheel trim was the height of luxury rather than a lovely alloy wheel, of course, but actually it does really suit the car overall. Text wise, it just simply says, superbly appointed, the Viscount offers multi-power motoring, vivid 3.3 litre power, power steering, power brakes, power glide auto transmission, power windows, and with power the luxury of fine leather, reclining seats, burr walnuts, and so many touches of traditional craftsmanship. So, really loaded with what you think of quite modern conveniences there, isn't it? Power steering, power windows, and of course all that leather, reclining seats and burr walnut just add to that opulence, really. Just a reminder how much of an upmarket car the Viscount really was at this time. Very much a special car. Not really a car for the average person, although as your second, third, fourth owner, what a lovely car to glide around in. Certainly a special car for sure, but of course always that issue with not really a very special badge, like if you had a Jaguar, for example, not that special badge, so maybe that's why they weren't hugely popular. But nevertheless, what a absolutely wonderful motor car for 1967. You have to remind yourself, 1967. But The text and that main image really only tell you part of the story, really. When you look on the inside, you really know that this is a special car. The glimpse on the inside, as you can imagine, as a kid peering on the inside of this car and seeing this interior and being wowed by it, you know, all that lovely leather and burr walnuts on the dash and going along those doors. And you can even see with those door cards look a bit special, and you've got the carpeting going up the door cards there as well, just to remind you that this is something a little bit special. Zoom back a little bit. Those wonderful big seats. Those carpets do look really thick. But of course, with Vauxhall, you didn't have to have a plain coloured interior. You could have this wonderful blue interior, which I can't imagine what it would have been on that blue car that we saw at the start. Obviously, your exterior colour probably will denote your interior colour. But look at that from the back. I would certainly like the blue on the blue interior, would you? Lovely picnic tables. Remind us a bit of the Van den Ploegh 1500 we saw not too long ago, but this is certainly a class, maybe a few classes above that for sure. But yeah, what a lovely interior. Not just a tiny strip of burr walnuts, a great big slab of burr walnuts on that rear door, and that lovely great big centre armrest. Not an ordinary car, isn't it? And certainly when you look at the prices, and we will do in a moment, this wasn't a car that the average person would have been able to afford, of course. Now, one mark about the cost of this vehicle, the price list on this that we've been looking at through the brochure doesn't include the Viscount for some reason. I'm not sure why. Maybe it was too special to actually be in there with over the rest of the riff-raff range. I don't know, but the price is within the brochure itself, so we do know what price it is when we actually open the brochure up. Maybe it's time to actually look at those prices and those specifications, but like I say, this was really the special model of the range. So this is the specification page that we've been looking at throughout this series of Vauxhalls. We started, of course, with the Vivas, the kind of like the new kid on the block, as it were. And I always liked the Vivas, actually, this particular generation of Viva. Then we looked at the Victors and the Victor estate cars, and even the VX490, the sporty Victor. And then last week, of course, we looked at the Cresta. And right at the bottom here, the last model in the range, the Viscount, so kind of like the fancy version of a Cresta, really. Anyway, we'll look along the text here, we'll look at the specifications and give you an idea of what you get as standard. And then right at the end there, we get the price. Price sometimes doesn't mean a lot to them, like, oh, well, that isn't very much money, but we'll kind of like compare it to the prices of the other models just to remind us that the Viscount was a pricey motor. Anyway, let's have a look at the specs first. So first of all, it starts talking about the length, width and height. The interesting thing, I'm not going to read all that out, the length, width and height, but the interesting thing with that is when we compare it to the Cresta, which is obviously the car it's based on, it's very, maybe an inch longer. The width is exactly the same, and the height is, very, very slightly higher as well, interestingly enough. Obviously, height may be due to the wheel sizes, I'm not sure. The length slightly bigger, that's unusual. I'm not entirely sure why it is just that little bit longer. Maybe it was the overriders that pushed it over there a bit, I'm not sure. But anyway, we've got that 6-cylinder 3294cc engine, 140 bhp. And we've got 2 transmission choices, either that power glide as in the auto, although rather interestingly we could have a 4-speed floor change as well. Wonder how many had the floor change. That little X actually on the 4-speed floor change model, it does telling us we can have that as an option, but it's a no cost option. The auto was the standard transmission for this car, but like I say, you could say, well, I actually want the 4-speed floor change, but it was an option. Actually, it wasn't the same price. You actually could get it cheaper. So you say, I want the 4-speed floor change. They'll say, oh, okay, we'll reduce the cost for you. So that's a little bit unusual. So an optional equipment that was less charge. Tells us we get power brakes, front discs, rear drums as standard. Little bit of a look at the drawing of the Viscount, showing that black vinyl roof. And then some of the specifications we get as standard: leather, furniture hide upholstery, reclined front seats, carpets, walnut fascia, and a vinide covered roof. All standard pieces of kit for this fancy model. We also get a heater, ventilator, face level ventilation, screen clean, headlamp flasher, reversing lights, power steering, power windows, and a heated back window. All standard pieces of kit. Colours, we get 9 single colours with contrasting coach line. Might just go back and have a look at that coach line. I kind of skimmed over that. And then finally, the price. So for this beautiful Viscount model, all you had to do was pay £1,482, 17 shillings and 4 pence. Sounds like nothing today, but just to compare it with your top of the range Cresta Deluxe above it, that was £1,077. So quite a jump up from the Cresta to the Viscount. And just a reminder that actually if you got the most basic Viva, as in the new car, that was £579. So you could almost buy a Viva and a Cresta for the price of a Viscount. Not quite, but get in there. But it also gives you a little bit of an idea of how expensive the Viscount was. A wonderful car. Maybe that was best to buy as a second-hand purchase, but beware Vauxhall and rust at this time. So yeah, there are the little bit of a tape stripe there you can see going down there, contrasting, so depending on what colour car you pick would depend on that tape stripe there. And then just a reminder on the front end, we got these overriders which we can see on this model, which must have counted for the extra length over the Cresta. There is your Cresta Deluxe and no overrider, so I think that accounts for the slightly longer length on the Viscount. And then just moving back to the front cover, a little bit of a zoom in on the Viscount on the front cover there in a different colour, really showing off that vinyl roof, doesn't it, in white. And I presume this model probably had that lighter coloured interior, but never a fan of these sort of pictures in motion, but I thought I'd include that just to show you what it looked like in different colour, and kind of like it really doesn't look as special in white overall, does it? But there you go, that is our 1967 Vauxhall range brochure entitled Go Vauxhall 67. I hope you've enjoyed this brochure series as much as I have. I always like looking at these kind of like forgotten Vauxhalls. Really, these were before my time. A lot of these models would have rusted away when I started getting interested in cars in the 70s, but it's certainly nice to look back at them, isn't it? Anyway, quick note on the channel, we're fast approaching 3,000 subscribers when I produced this video, and obviously we're going to have a little bit of a spare slot at this time next week, so I thought I would probably do this brochure next week, because I would imagine by next week we will have hit the 3,000 subscriber mark. So this seems a quite fitting brochure to look at, really, doesn't it? The Austin Healey 3000 is a brochure from 1962, so we'll have a look at that brochure next week. But thank you so much for watching today. We'll end as we always do by saying thank you for watching Quarterlight today and the Vauxhall Viscount. What a beautiful car. On this page also, we'll see popping up in a moment, we'll have a little box that will appear. If you missed any of these episodes, if you hit that box, it'll show the previous episodes, and in fact the entire brochure will be down here in one place now, so if you wanted to, you could watch the whole brochure in one fell swoop. And please do tell me which is your favourite Vauxhall from 1967. I can't help but say this one, although no doubt it would have always been way out of my price range, so maybe, you know, the new Vauxhall Viva might have tickled my fancy. But certainly let me know your favourite Vauxhall at this particular time. And also a reminder that if you're not subscribed already and you like this sort of thing, then please do consider subscribing. It is completely free. And if you do want to support the channel, you can become a member for a very small fee. So please do look at that on the Quarterlight YouTube page. But thank you so much for watching today. I hope your day went well. Please do take care. We'll see you very soon. All the best and goodbye.